yeah, regarding the sexology of things, like, yeah, it's massively important to be considering, but also just exploring what that game really is about. You know, away from the conventional education that we've had on sex through media programs, the school playground, you know, and even some of the books, because, well, the area of sex I like to focus on personally is the reproductive aspects. You know, getting deeper into what sex is and what it's really about. And, you know, for someone who's really exhausted sexual faculties in the years, you know, when I really knew that, yo, it's time to take life more seriously, homing in on the reproductive system and what it's really about, you know, it's key to life, really. You know, literally, the reproductive system is key to life, key to regeneration, key to productivity. So that system embodies the capacity to reproduce. Yeah. So your sexual organs, they're tools, they're magical tools of reproduction, and the art of sex is coming together. It's just joining the yin and the yang, the positive, the negative, the masculine, feminine, the electric and magnetism. It's the same art. It's the same blueprint formula, but we are partaking at different levels of universal creation. Hence, when we come together like that and the friction is made, then we are generating life force. This life force that we generate through the art of sex is so powerful in its ritual that we're partaking in, that we then create another big bang, another, you know, tadpole meets the egg, you know, and it's that spark again. Yeah. Hence, we bring forth life, and life, not just another person. We're dealing with a whole universal mental body. We're bringing forth a whole cosmic spiritual body. We're bringing forth a whole biological, physiological being. Yeah. So we know any woman contains that whole universal makeup within her being, as does a man. So when we recreate that through the practice of sex, like, we're dealing with some serious alchemical potential that is within us. So, and I always say, man, what we have to remember as beings, if we are able to bring forth a being and everything that encompasses a being, then anything else in our reality per se should be simple to manifest, because there is nothing here that man can create that can equate to that being that he can bring forth, man or woman, man as a species. There's nothing here we can design, you know, or sculpture or craft or build with the hands that can compare to what we can do internally and bring forth. And obviously it starts in the mind, and then we take it chemical, and, you know, it gets physical, you know, it gets very emotional. It's all spiritual, as everything is. So why do I say, why is all of that important to bring forth before the other aspects of the conversation? Because we have to know what we're dealing with. So when we're talking about manifestation, yeah, or you know, creating our reality, we already know that we can create a whole cosmic universe in a body, and bring it forth through a being. So anything else in the 3D or 5th dimension, we should be able to bring forth. So if we're not doing that, or we're having problems doing that, we can focus on the reproductive faculties, the reproductive system of our being, and know that this is the realm, this is the system of reproducing whatever it is we are visualizing, or whatever our will desires. So it's important to focus on that. And one way, there's millions of ways to focus on that. So when we talk about the Mula Bandha techniques, or the breathing techniques, or focusing on the sphincters, those areas where we leak energy, and their orifices of the body where things can get in and disturb the alchemy, it's very useful to strengthen those faculties. And hence that sexology book, that the Tao of Sexology, I'm working with another sister in London, and we're doing workshops and things, and we've just been sharing information regarding some of the topics that we're doing for these people in London. So she forwarded me this book that she's reading, and she was just basically referencing some points that we'd already discussed, and she's found them in this book. So yeah, I mean, it's the perfect time for us all, you know, to get on the, like what is referred to the Tantra aspect. And Tantra does not just reference sex. I mean, the sex aspect of Tantra, the actual physical partaking of sex, is only really a small chapter in the whole body of Tantra philosophy and meaning. And what you will find is that what we refer to as Tantra, a lot of our ancestral peoples and civilizations that we spring from, they was always involved in a form of Tantra. So when we say Tantra, this is just about respecting the universal principles of creation and reproduction, especially through the body's faculties, tools and systems, and basically incorporating that into our liberty. So just the way we set up the household will be based on the blueprint of how the sexual, reproductive, creative nature of the body and the earth body operates. So it's just partaking in the ritual of the blueprint of life, the divine essence. And Tantra is just basically the idea of and the practice and the kind of a nice instruction manual into how to incorporate that into life. Yeah. So one aspect I really like to focus on when I'm sharing with people, especially my generation and my peer group, is we need to get into the retention of the seed. Yeah. Especially for men. We need to retain the seed more often. We need sexual fast. We need to fast more for sex, because the body is constantly reproducing, but this potent life force that we are just expelling out of the body just for recreational purposes, you know, and just for that stimulation, and just because we're not really being trained culturally or through any Western school systems on the importance of the potency that we are generating in these fluids and in these stimulating kind of experiences. We are generating a lot of light, and we experience that in the ritual of sex. That's why it's so attractive, because as soon as that friction's going on, as soon as we're exchanging energy with the other, we are generating light force, and this is going all up and that. The light body is turned on. Like, you're blinking, but we can't see it because it's in the hidden, it's internal. Yeah, we can only experience and sensationalize it, and that sensational experience is so revitalizing and attractive because of the essence of what the purpose of it is for. At its very essence, that is the ultimate creation story. And when we are partaking in that, we are experiencing God and the creation story. So it's very powerful, and you know, it's a very beautiful process. But we really want to use that process to bring forth our will. So when we want to really bring forth seeds and plant seeds and bring children into the world, you know, that's what it's for. But also when we want to really manifest potent, powerful ideas and our will, we can use Tantra for that. We can use the sexual ritual to bring that forth. But then what we want to do, we can't be releasing the seed, because we need to impregnate the mind. So we have an idea, but we still need to impregnate that idea in the mind. We still need to really bring that to life. So what we need to do is retain the seed, and then through meditation, through breathing exercises, through internal instruction, we need to bring that seed back up to the brain. And instead, because there's always two minds, there's always, when we are creating, every idea, every thought begins in the mind. It's a mental process. And then we've got tools that can strengthen that intention, that can bring that to life. So just through meditation and getting very sexual in the meditation, not in a lustful ritual way, but in a kind of generating that ecstatic feeling, getting those lights turning and getting everything turned on. That's what meditation is. Everything in this realm is involved in a sexual process, in a reproductive process. Everything is constantly eating itself. Everything is constantly having sex with itself. Everything is constantly digesting itself. Do you know what I mean? So we just want to really partake in that ritual to bring forth our power and retaining the seed and using it and using the breath and using and strengthening the sexual faculties, the sphincters, the testes, the prostate, yeah, because it's the prostate that creates the conduit for what the conduit fluid, what the spermatozoa will travel in. So look at that spiritually, look at that esoterically. It is producing the milk, yeah, it's producing that flow, yeah, it's making sure that what you are intending to birth has that fluidity to come through. So this is why we have to really look at all the organs of the body as universal portals of energy centers, yeah, and everything that we see physical has such a deep spiritual cosmic essence to it, and we need to treat it as so if you're at that point in your reality. So, you know, and then just retaining breathing exercise, retaining the seed. For women it's different. How I know women, it's like men, once you've planted that seed, once you've released that seed, it's a wrap. Your chi, your life force, that ankh power, yo, you've got to regenerate that. Women, you're dealing with source. When you're dealing with source, like everything, they can multiple orgasm that, like, they will tire you out. Do you know what I mean? So that women, I can't speak on women because they have a capacity. They just have to know what they're doing and really channel that differently. Do you see what I'm saying? But they've got that continuum capacity. You're dealing with source energy there. But for men, and it's important because women need the men to bring forth certain aspects of the reality in this dimension. So women should be encouraging men and encouraging them to fast also, and encouraging them, whatever partner you're with or relationships you're in at whatever level, really go through that experience together and really encourage that fasting to retain the seed, to then bring that seed back up. That's real ankh. That is the loop in the ankh also. It's bringing it up from the phallus, that line, that strength, bringing it back up the spine, up the jed, and then looping that energy back round into the body and keeping that loop continuum going. That's another form of ankh power, ankh magic. Yeah. So, but really what we're doing is we can use the meditation and the stimulation to really visualize our will, and then we can use the sexual power to, whether it's the physical ritual, to really send that seed to germinate that egg. Yeah, as men we can do that, but in the mind we really want to impregnate the mind. Do you see what I'm saying? And bring forth that will, and we can do that partaking in sex. But once you release that seed, man, you're just releasing life force, and you know, you gotta regenerate that, and you know, you ain't got, unless you're tapped into the source, which is a work in progress, then you know, we're really gonna struggle to regenerate that, especially on our diets, especially on our environments, especially with our stresses and our other layers. So yeah, man, it's perfect time to get into the real mature sexual talk and, you know, tantra and all of that. So you know, as long as it's at that level, all the other stuff, and it can be exploited too in spirituality. There's I come across a lot of consciousness and spirituality where they want to use the spirituality and consciousness to just take their sex game to a higher level and that. But I'd say be careful what you're partaking in, because it's not a game. Do you know what I mean? It's very serious, especially when you're using it under the kind of banner of consciousness and spirituality, and getting into sexual acts and getting into sexual, you know, it's all good, all great if you really know what you're doing out there in the cosmos. Because when you plant seeds out there in the cosmos, man, you're going to answer to them for a long time. So just because it feels good and great, yeah, doesn't mean that it's gold, no matter how much it's glistening. Yeah, so you really want to cement your will and really know what we're doing, and the meditation will really guide that. So yeah, man, maybe that's you know, a nice little thought for the day. All right, peace.